Oh my God. What the hell is a Psi.Wave, Alex?
What the hell is a Psi.Wave?
What is a Psi.Wave?
It's a podcast.
Uh-huh.
It's a frequency.
Uh-huh.
It's a stupid phrase we made up.
Uh-huh.
And it's a magic spell.
Yeah.
It's
Pow.
everything.
Ba-dow. Mic drop.
Record now. We did it.
Hello.
Oh my God, you're so loud. Okay.
Oops.
It's fine.
Welcome to Psi.Wave. I am Chase Butice.
I'm Alex Coleman, I think.
Yeah. And this is our first podcast. We are extremely excited.
Yep.
I'm super excited. Alex is slurping his tea.
Ceremonial slurp.
Why are we making this podcast, Alex?
Because we like talking to each other.
Yeah, and we're pretty cool.
Yeah.
And we have lots to say.
We're a couple of weirdos who like talking to each other.
About weird ass shit that most people do not have any idea what we're talking about ever.
We were talking to a friend like last week, and she was like, "You guys are out there."
It's true. It's true. We're very out there.
It's very true.
So, we just decided to on the fly create this because we need to create. And this has kind of been in the works for a while.
Forever.
And we're just going with the name Psi.Wave. I personally love it because it took me a while to come to the... I kept seeing the word Psi over and over and over again. And it was like, to me, it indicated something about this new world frequency. Psi being... interconnected, psychic, attunement, connection, communication beyond, our rational mind. And I just feel like Psi is a really cool. It's a Greek letter. It's just cool. It's cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then the wave is, what's the wave, Alex?
The wave is a wave. I have this problem where there's not a name in the world that I would like and be comfortable with. So I kind of was like, Chase, you just get it. You just pick something, please.
Well, Alex is like the most abstract thinker in the world, but then has a hard time making art that is abstract.
It's hard.
It's bizarre.
It's hard. Well, it's because I'm so abstract that I'm like, I don't want to be affixed to anything ever. It's too limiting.
It's too limiting. No.
No.
No, but we chose.
Cool.
Yeah, it's fine. When this is what we're doing, so here we are now. But why the wave? We decided we wanted to do Psi something, and then we decided to make the wave. I thought the wave was cool.
We decided wave because you saw it on an elliptical machine.
Yeah, I did. At the moment, I was trying to figure it out, and I was like, "What's it gonna be called?" But the wave is connected to a dream that you recently had.
Oh yeah, that's true. That is true. It is loosely connected to a dream I had this word endosign come into my mind in like a dream. I was like, what is endosign? What is that? And in the Googling process, one, we found this really weird like art project website. But two, I found a definition of it that said the internal wave, like endo meaning internal, sign meaning like sine wave. So, yeah, we pulled the wave part from the internal wave.
So it kind of means like this podcast is really kind of about the new wave. I think we're in a new post 2020 world that has new frequencies, new currents, and
you love that word currency.
I do. I love it. I love crypto. I love currency. There's a whole new world order, and you and I are definitely a massive part of that. And so that's what this podcast is really about. It's just about us kind of laughing and making fun of ourselves, kind of navigating this new world, and helping any way we can to help guide, assist, commentary on this new world, new frequency, new world order. That was kind of what I truly
struggle to take anything seriously.
You do.
But I do. Which makes it hard to make things because I'm like, I need to appear serious in some way. I need to be taking this seriously. And then nothing works because it's too serious and I can't take anything seriously.
Well, then you become super serious, which is the ultimate irony of it all.
And it's the most uncomfortable state for me.
It's so boring.
It's so uncomfortable. Give me a pressure cooker of my own making.
That's why we finally were like, okay,
it's
time we do this together so that this can be fun and easy and free. Right?
That is the goal.
Right.
Why do you like the word currency so much?
Why?
Yeah.
Well, post 2020 into 2021, we live in Palm Springs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was having all these deep psychic conversations with my friend Lisa, who we're going to have on this podcast, but who's a psychic, and we would have these intense conversations about like the new world and this new energy that's coming in and what we're feeling, and we'd be really attuned to it. And I would be like staring out my window and it would be like windy, and she would be like, it's so windy here, and I would be like, it's so windy here, and we just both were picking up on these new currents. It was like this new current. And then it's like the age of Aquarius, the glyph that happened is currents.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then that also mixed with the new currency that is evolving, which is cryptocurrency. There's literally a new current.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can't deny all the symbology and the connections.
Right.
And it's exciting to me because the old currency sucked. The dollar sucked. The old currency, the old paradigm was so limiting and square and restrictive. And yeah, so
why is currency called currency? Where did that word even come from?
You mean like the money or for money?
Money. Why is it called currency?
Well, because it's literally moving around like a current.
That makes sense. Do you think that's why they named it that way in the first place, or maybe that doesn't even matter? Who knows?
I think that's why. I think that's the. Yeah, I mean, that's what's so interesting about it. It's this thing that is moving around. It's really linked to this new era that is like really this decentralized era that is like currency is literally available to everybody. Right. Everybody has access to this new currency that was only previously given to very few. Mm-hmm. And it's a decentralized energy that we can all kind of grab onto, which is so exciting.
Right.
Do you feel that way?
Yeah, I feel that way. Yeah, just as you were saying that, I was thinking about like the word current's a weird word because it's also like the current times, It's connected to like, current also means like this moment or like in the moment, or like it's current, it's hip, it's now, it's happening.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm. One of the bands I was in was called like James and I and the Current, and it was kind of a play.
And
on
also
that.
the currents of the ocean.
Yeah.
Rip current, a rip tide, a current. So you can get caught in a current.
Yeah.
It's really a wave. It's really a current is a wave.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
that's interesting that the moment is also a wave.
Yes.
Wave.
Whoa. So
oh my god, dude.
So,
okay.
who are we? We have to introduce ourselves.
Oh goodness.
Who are you? Who are you?
I am the universe. I am everything.
Well, you are. You really are the universe.
I mean, literally, but also that's both as big a deal and not as big a deal as it sounds like. I think because everyone is, right?
Yeah.
But maybe some people pay more attention to that than others, I guess. I think about that all the time. Like, I'm literally everything.
It's so funny because I was just gonna be like, I'm a this and I'm a that and this is what I do, and you're like, I'm a fucking cosmic being, bitch.
You said get weird.
Oh my god. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, you and I are both. We're some kind of seer, visionist.
Yeah.
Psychic. Mm-hmm. We're definitely of this new world. This new world is where we belong. But Alex and I are both extremely psychic and I don't know.
Yeah.
In tune.
We were like in each other's dreams last night. That
we
was
were
weird.
literally in each other's dreams last night, and it was like so crazy. I've never had that before.
If that happens to anyone else, let us know.
Yeah. Have you ever slept next to somebody and you guys are in the same dream together at the same time?
Like, yeah, I've dreamt about other people. I'm like, you were in my dream. Whoa. And then, you know, maybe they have a similar dream later, but it hasn't been where we're literally like next to each other and we like wake up and we're like, what?
What the fuck?
What?
I got so annoyed because I get so annoyed because he gets so hot, and I like literally went in the other room. I was like, get out of my fucking dreams, dude.
Literally in your space.
Literally like up in my fucking consciousness.
Uh-huh.
I had enough. I went and slept on the couch, and then he was like, what are you doing out here? And I was like, it's too hot in there. You're in my bed.
I don't try. I'm not trying.
I know.
I can't help it.
Yeah, I know.
This is my boundaries issue.
Yeah.
I mean, I experienced that like literally in daily life, right? It's like the overly empathetic thing. I don't know how to shut it off really, but I'm like, I can feel everything. I'm sure lots of people actually deal with that and call it social anxiety, but it's like
not on the same level that you do. You really
Maybe.
like enter the person's consciousness, and you can really see
too much
from their vantage point everything. Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah. And then I'm like, who am I? Who am I in this swirl of chaos?
Whoa, dude.
Yeah. Maybe that's why names are hard, because I'm just like, I'm in everyone else's mind while I'm trying to make something, you know?
Yes!
Mm-hmm.
Yes!
Mm-hmm.
It's a boundary.
It's really hard to stay centered in my own mind. It's very difficult. Not used to it.
This is your death here, dude.
Mm-hmm.
This is your death here. To make that happen. To make that...
Mm-hmm.
Well, and that's what we've been also talking about really a lot, is how this new era is like it. Well, what I've been feeling with the downloads that I've been getting is that that we're in a new era that is based in the empath. It's based in people who are highly sensitive, becoming grounded in themselves, developing stronger boundaries, and then able to be the nodes, quote unquote, for this new world, to kind of ground the energies, to shift the frequencies. That's the downloads that I've been getting that is in the midst of happening.
Mm-hmm. And
we were talking about like, you know, the new frequencies. We've been talking about crypto. We've been like, you know, Alex and I have been up in the crypto sphere. You got me into fucking Noah Lampert's Noah Lampert has a podcast called Synchronicity, and then he has a Discord server, and he's like all about the crypto, and so we got on this Discord server,
which I have been in for forever but barely participated in. And then Chase gets in there and just like every day, like 3 times a day, like, what's going on in the crypto server? And like almost every time you're like, I fucking hate this place, it's so bro. And then like an hour later you're back on it, you're like, I'm never going on this again. And then an hour later,
and then sometimes I love it, and then sometimes I'm like, oh my god, I love this person. But it's so intense because it's this. Well, the crypto sphere is so interesting. It's like this new frequency. It's this new currency, right? And it's so interesting because it's like, and it was really exciting when I first found that Discord server, because it was like all these people with all this new information about these new coins and these meme coins and all this shit. We got into AskCoin, which we fucking love. Whoa, Nico.
Oh my goodness.
We got into AskCoin, which is still our favorite coin.
AskCoin.
And it's
like the only one run by a woman too.
The only one run by a woman who's like, and she's so dope, and she's so legit.
She's your new favorite person.
She is my new favorite person. It sounds really weird. Most people that when they hear AskCoin, they're like, what? AskCoin? You guys, you're weird. Get it together. Like, this is really what you're investing your money in?
It's better than Cum Rocket Coin.
Oh my God.
Or Boner Dildo.
Boner Dildo. Yeah, this is what's going on right now in the crypto world, guys. This is what's going on in the underbelly of the fucking crypto world. That's why I get so fucking annoyed. Because it's like everything's becoming decentralized, but it's still all these bro dudes.
4chan.
It's all these bro dudes that are like.
Chase doesn't even know what 4chan is.
I don't know what that means.
I tried to explain it, but it's okay. Almost everyone else knows what 4chan is.
What is it?
It's like this forum. It's this online forum that we're like. It's where the scum of the internet all aggregate together.
Right. I guarantee you there's people that don't know what 4chan is.
I guess.
You're just tuned in. You're part of that tech bro. You're a little bit part of that tech bro energy.
It was on the news for a while.
Oh, and we all watch the news religiously.
Yeah, that's right. But it's like usually the people who don't watch the news like are on the internet, and you just, I don't know, you're not on anything.
No.
Except Noah's Discord server now.
Yeah. That I think I'm getting it off of.
Yeah, it's like the 4chan's like the original Reddit, I guess, like super ghetto Reddit. Yeah. Not as organized as that. I don't know. I've never really actually been on there. I just
4chan. I don't know. Yeah.
We'll go on it sometimes. It'll be fun.
Okay. That
It'll
sounds
be terrifying.
Exciting. Sounds exciting.
If you love the Discord, you will love 4chan.
I only love the Discord sometimes. I don't really love it that much.
I was trying to make a joke, but okay.
Okay.
All right. Back on track.
So, what's been going on with you lately, Alex? What are you excited about? What are you interested in? What are you feeling is happening? What is happening in this new world? Are you attuning to some new shit?
Massive
Can you feel the change?
Death.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's fucking talk about that.
Anything egos are attached to will be destroyed. Security and money is one. That's fun to watch and fun to be a part of. Don't attach your emotions to the number go up or number go down. That's not a good place to secure your emotions. That's not a good rock to stand on. Jobs aren't a good rock to stand on. The government is not a good rock to stand on.
Do you feel like what I've been feeling is like the new world, the old world now is trying to come back because the U.S. just got a mandate that you can take off your masks now. Which
except for California.
Except for fucking California.
Like, we could take our masks off for like a few days, and then California was like, actually, no.
Yeah. And Nico, no. Goodness. Yeah, and so the world's starting to open back up, and I just feel like and then also simultaneously it was so weird because the crypto has been like going crazy, like it's this new frequency, this new charge, this new decentralized energy, this wealth that's available to all, which is the way the world should be. And then the old world, it was so weird because it was like at the exact same time that the masks came off, the fucking crypto like took this huge dip. Like,
oh, that's interesting.
Isn't that interesting?
I didn't think about that.
Well, it's this. The old world is like, give me back, come back here, come back here. Let me put this noose around your neck. Come on.
Yeah. Texas Chase.
Yeah, it's just fucking.
Get on back here.
Get on back here, boy.
Yeah. I think it's just like as like new change starts happening and new things start happening, there's also then like a bunch of people that are like, wait, what? No.
Well, like my mom, I made some YouTube videos of just like an intro to crypto. And just like to give people, because it's interesting to me, especially women, how clueless so many women are, because it's like we're just not tuned in the same way as the tech bros in some ways. And so I was making some videos to help all my ladies out and all people that don't know about it. And I put it on my YouTube channel, and my mom was like, take that off. What did she say? She was like, people are going to think you're selling something. And she was like, Bill Maher said that crypto is a big joke, a big hoax. And she literally wouldn't stop telling me to take off my content about fucking crypto. I'm like, what? What? And my mom's a fucking Aquarian, dude. Yeah. Yeah, it's some bizarre bullshit.
I think it's just whenever anything new is happening ever, there's always like a backlash, right? There's always this like push and pull dynamic that happens with anything. You know, as soon as like one thing gets momentum, then the other thing responds to that momentum and pulls back. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like even like the Barack Obama thing. A black man gets elected president, and all of a sudden there's a huge like back, or like a Democrat gets elected president, then a Republican gets elected president. It's almost like a similar dynamic of like, oh, this thing happens, then like, oh no, we got to go back the other way.
No, but I feel like this is even deeper and more significant because America is so attached to our money. And our capitalism and our hierarchy and our fucking patriarchy and our systems. We're so attached to that as the ultimate way of freedom. And all of that's getting fucking blown up now. Our literal currency is dying. Which means America in some ways is kind of dying.
Right.
That's what it feels like to me. It feels like America is going through a massive death right now.
Right.
And even one of our favorite astrologers, America's Pluto return now.
Oh, interesting. That makes sense. It's what, every 280
years?
280? Ooh, well, 1776. Isn't that when America was born?
Isn't Pluto a 280-year cycle?
I think it's 240 some. Like 246 or something.
Yeah, 246.
Yeah. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Ooh, 2020.
Oh.
So, yeah. Oh, hello. Yep. What?
Your turn.
My turn. My turn for what?
I don't know. I'm gonna take a back seat.
Take a slurp break.
Yeah, dude.
It's a slurp break. This is a lot more fun talking with another person than talking by yourself. That kind of sucks.
You're still afraid that
I'm
you're not.
Afraid.
You're afraid.
It's scary.
What are you so scared of? Just
I don't know.
Be your weird fucking self.
I'm being my weird self.
Do you want to talk about your giant wiener?
No.
Okay. You can go through and
Thanks
edit
for
that
bringing
out.
it up, though. Oh no, there's no editing here. I'm too lazy for that.
Okay. Okay.
I decided I'm too lazy for that.
What do you want to talk about, Alex?
What do I want to talk about? Everything. I don't know. You're the one. You're the showrunner. You're the one who made the notes for this.
Nico's up high. Nico was upset that he wasn't up high. Oh, okay. Oh, I was going to talk about new frequencies. And what is the new frequency? What does it mean? What are the indicators? What is the new frequency? What are the indicators of it? So the things that I wrote down that were some of the indicators of it were crypto, obviously being one of them. Moving from a scarcity mindset to an abundant mindset. Oh my God,
Nico, get out of here.
Which I think that's one of the biggest ones because, abundance is really linked to worthiness and our right to live on this planet and enjoy things and enjoy pleasure. And that's when we're talking about the death of kind of American capitalism, the death of the old school American energy. All of that was based in this intense scarcity hierarchy that kept us in this constant state of fear, that kept us in this fear-based consciousness where we were scrambling and we were always looking at what we didn't have, never opening to what we did have. I'm not saying, of course, everybody did this, but I mean, just in our own it's internalized patriarchy, it's internalized capitalism. It's constantly feeling like nothing is ever enough, constantly feeling like nothing is ever good enough. And it's really operating our lives from fear, right? Operating our lives from a sense of fear.
Which sucks.
Which is exhausting.
It's not very creative. It's exhausting, and it doesn't lead to true creativity.
No.
That's what the fear is, what leads to the box. You know what I mean? Fear is by definition just limitation and boxing yourself in, right? If you're afraid, then you're making all your decisions based off of this false paradigm of like, what's going to keep me safe? Well, nothing. And nothing's going to actually keep you safe. And also, you're always safe is the other truth of that. You know what I mean? Well,
yeah. And I've been doing all this work through 2020 into 2021 around really creating this inner stability, inner security, because I think that's what we have to really, really depend on if we're going to, as we kind of go through this death, because in the old paradigm, our security, quote unquote, was dependent on these old dudes that owned these corporations, that owned all these companies, and our security was based on coming from someone else, and it's really coming from the energy of the rational and this linear idea based in this hierarchy, fear-based consciousness, moving into the spiritual, realizing that true abundance is our birthright, and that energy is the essential and number one important thing to attune to when you're contemplating security, right?
Do you think those things were made because those guys were like, oh, this sounds like a fun and cool way to live our lives? Or was it like, we need to make the most efficient system completely, and pleasure and intrigue are secondary? You know what I mean?
I think it's so old and so deep that it literally goes...
This is the way the world works.
I mean, honestly, I've talked about this, but the most enlightening book I ever read was the Chalice and the Blade, which talks about, it was literally 7,000 years ago that humanity was more matrilineal, feminine, where pleasure and love and abundance were kind of the central theme, moving from a worship of life to then a worship of death.
The cultures were a lot more colorful and more interesting, really, really wild, interesting religions and art and all this stuff. It was
not to say people didn't have wars or disagreements.
Oh, for sure. But even the attitude to war was less fearful in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it just wasn't the same. It was not the same as... I feel like that's the cycle where, like, I mean, that might be a huge statement. But
it's almost like they were playing a video game or something back then. You know what I mean? In a weird way, it's a little bit more like they were acting a little bit more like life is a game on some level. Back in the day, I mean, they took it seriously, I'm sure, but like it's just more. They were more about the pleasure, right? They were more about like creating an amazing, rich life experience, rather than this weird paradigm of like, get your money and I don't know. There's such a dryness and sadness to this, the way we've lived our lives for a while. It's so empty.
It's empty of spirit.
Like, why are we doing that?
It's empty of spirit.
Yeah.
There's been no spirit behind any of the matter. We've literally gotten to a point where we become machines. And we're treated like machines. And we're on machines. And we're kept in boxes under this guise of freedom. It's bizarre.
Why and when do you think that started?
I think it's the origin we're talking about. From this, when there was this... I think it says it all when it's like... a culture that moving from a culture that worshipped life to cultures that worship death. It's literally when you worship life, you see, you acknowledge, you honor the beauty, the bounty, the plenitude, the abundance. That's when you worship life, right? When you worship death, it's like you're worshiping pain, you're worshiping scarcity, you're worshiping fear.
Right.
It's basically going from worshiping love to worshiping fear.
Right. And they don't think people even like realize that that's what they're doing. But by worshiping is like putting your attention on something. You know what I mean? And making your decisions on it. So I don't think they would say that they are death worshipers. We worship pain and stuff, but they really do, because that's what they're paying attention to and guiding all their decisions by. Every single decision they make, the first consideration in their mind is, could this lead to pain? Could this lead to disaster? You know what I mean? Instead of thinking, well, that sounds like a fun way to live my life, or that sounds like a cool way to do things. They're thinking like, how likely is this to lead to disaster? And
somewhere along the way, we were programmed, I feel like, as humans to feel guilty about not worshiping darkness.
Well, it's feeling guilty about failure. Or like, you know, failure. It's like if something goes wrong, then that's what we focus on the most. Almost is fear of failure.
Exactly. Exactly. It's looking at the blank spaces versus the abundant places, and constantly fixating on those. And then it's the shame and the guilt and the darkness and all the shit that we do to each other to keep each other down, to keep our lights dimmed so that we keep performing in these cycles, these energy cycles that have just been so limiting for all of humanity. Yeah. So exhausting, so limiting.
You know, and I think it comes from this place of like bad things happen, right? Bad things have happened, and if you get logical about it, you can trace back to what decisions caused that thing to happen sometimes. Sometimes you can't, sometimes you can, but it's this desire to like, that was so horrible, I never want that to happen again.
Yeah.
Right? But the ironic thing about that is you start making things from making decisions from that space, then the whole thing becomes horrible. Instead of this amazing, beautiful, rich life punctuated by moments of grief and loss and tragedy, the whole thing becomes a tragedy. The whole thing becomes this muted, dull suffering.
And that's just what became, it was like we hit the absolute peak of all of that in 2020. It was like all of that was in the fryer pan, but then like the heat got turned up and it finally just hit its max point of cooking in 2020.
Yep.
You know, where like that's just, it was like people could not step away from the news. They believed the news was their source of safety. When in reality, it was just keeping them in a deeply entrenched, locked state of confinement and constriction and fear, which was the ultimate. Which when anybody's in that state, they're ultimately controlled, right?
Yeah, right. It's this idea that there's like one truth. Like, this is fucking nuts. That's fucking nuts. There's this huge like pushback against like fake news and like we have to have one dominant narrative and stuff, and it's like that's not true. There's not one dominant narrative. You can even see that in just your daily life. Like there is no way to find one universal truth ever with anything ever. Life is so complex and multifaceted. And we talk about this all the time even too, where it's like we don't even know if like the past is a real fixed thing. That's where we get super weird and fucking out there. But
well, it's true. Though.
It's in your head. You know what I mean? The past is just,
and people have such different recollections of it.
In which memory only exists in imagination. Yeah.
Well, we were talking about shifting patterns, deeply embedded patterns, right, of behavior. And waking up to our God selves to realize that we can actually create our reality as we choose and as we please. And Alex and I were talking about deeply embedded behaviors that we have. And then, so you were talking about the Neville, what was it? The Neville Goddard retracement?
Oh, revision.
The revision, which basically is going back in time to access certain memories that created the space or the wound or the carving of the pattern that you're in now that is so hard to get out of, and shifting the energy from that space.
Right.
This is just multidimensional time traveling, which we can do in any time or space, in any place. And I feel like this is really important in this new era to start making these things available to everybody. These are not just things that are available to people who are gurus. There is no such thing as a guru anymore. These are techniques that all of us can do. And that is part of the message we have here on this podcast, is to empower you to realize that you have all the spiritual power inside of you. You don't need to go to anyone outside of you. It's all really ever going to come from the self.
Well, it's just really respecting the reality of the power of our thoughts and our mind and our consciousness, because there's been this almost like this just dismissal of it, like the fact, like the way you think and feel about things and the way you remember things and the way you look to the future as not being real. You know what I mean? But that's really the most powerful fucking thing at our disposal, and I think it's really beginning to acknowledge the depth of that, the awe of that, and that your thoughts and feelings are the most important thing and really worth serious consideration. And it's not just some.
I think when people hear that shit, at least I used to be like this. When people would say something like that to me, I would get freaked out because I'd be like, fuck. Because the majority of my thoughts were like so negative, internalized bullshit. right?
Uh-huh.
Scarcity mindset.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, so then it like creates more fear. And then you're just in this bubble of like, of your own doing.
Well,
right?
first up, don't worry about that, because you've already been doing that your entire life.
That's true. That's true.
It's already as bad as it can get. Don't worry.
It can only go up from here. Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. I mean,
no, it's true.
Yeah, it's true. It's just becoming aware of how dark your thoughts have been already, and how the whole fucking paradigm has been based on fear and negativity this whole time.
And me hating myself.
Yes.
Yes. Always feeling never enough. It's exhausting.
Grind.
Yeah.
So you can just be enough now and create and live from that space, and that's way more fucking fun rather than this like I gotta work so hard to get there and then I'll finally enjoy it. That's not how it's gonna work. That's not how it's worked ever. There is no point you get to where you're like, okay, now I can feel good about myself. You don't get there from feeling like you're not enough. You don't get there.
I think these are things that we're going to keep talking about on this podcast, and we're going to keep talking about these techniques. And because that's essentially what you and I are really doing these days. That's what I mean. We're basically channels. We're expressing the mass collective awakening consciousness at this current point in time. Right. That's basically what this podcast is we're channels for that. We're voices of the collective emergence, right? And so what I believe, what I feel is happening, what I've been told, what is happening through me, as well as what I'm witnessing happening through you, is that we're both waking up to the true divinatory power, the true God self. Which when you say this, people are like, okay, right?
That's what I was talking about with the dismissal of it. There's this immediate instinct to just be like, okay, yeah, sure, and it's just positive thinking, but no, you gotta drop that preconception, and this is way deeper than you think it is. It kind of is what you think it is, but it's the power of it is way more than you've given it credit for. Like, for example, like if we want to talk about this revision thing, one really simple way to see how this works is say there's a person in your life who's had a pattern of behavior, right? Someone did something to you, and now you have a memory of this person being like, oh, that's that person that is that way. And you're constantly remembering this person that way, and that leaves no space for another possibility. That leaves no space for change. That leaves no space for this person to come back in and apologize and potentially be a different person, right? And what's weird about this is I've noticed in my life, like, people will have toxic patterns of behavior, and they'll keep proving that to me over and over again, that they are this toxic person. But when I'm finally able to like let them go and forgive them of that and accept the possibility of them being different, they're almost like immediately different. It's really weird,
That's so interesting because it gets so tricky because the era we live in now is like everybody's like boundaries and get these toxic people out of your life, and
right, which is true.
Which is absolutely true. We've all been going through. I'm sure you guys have been all going through like a massive cleansing, because I have, of like just getting like letting go of people and things that are not serving you, but. So I could say for you in that sentence from what you were just said, like. So if somebody's an abusive person, does that mean you look at them and decide they're not abusive?
No, absolutely not. If someone is abusing you in the moment, fucking put up a boundary. You know what I mean? Defend yourself.
Right.
But it's about being in the moment is what it's ultimately about. As a person is abusing you in the moment, absolutely get them out of there and end the toxic behavior. But it's about realizing that the person is not the behavior ever, which is really fucking hard thing to do. You know what I mean? Like, can you say that about Hitler? Like, Hitler is not his behavior, and that's absolutely true, but a really fucking hard thing to deal with. But
so you're saying to disassociate the person from their personality and their behavior and look at their spirit, look at their energy.
Yeah, and like, what does that actually mean? I mean, it's not even that. It's not even look at their energy. It's just open to the possibility of change. Be open to the possibility of something different. Because if you're constantly judging someone as being their behavior, then you're affixing them to that and you're dooming them to that forever.
Well, you're projecting an energy onto them. And this is why people who are really, really sensitive, people who are empathic and sensitive and are sensitive to energy, are really sensitive to people's projections, and why they have such a hard time creating their own identity, and why a lot of people who are super sensitive have to have a lot of time alone in order to like figure out and find their own truth, right?
Yeah. You know, and just holding the awareness that we have those parts in us as well, and that any person, anything, any creature can do harm or good to you at any moment, and knowing you have the strength and capacity to respond to whatever is happening in the moment. So, you know, even, I'm sure everyone's experienced this, even your best friends, your closest partners have at some point done something shitty to you, right? And it's just allowing yourself to respond to that shitty behavior with truth, you know, because sometimes we can let people do shitty stuff to us because we're like, but this is our best friend, we love them so much, and so we give things a pass, right, and don't respond to them in the moment. It can go both ways. Or whereas there's someone who's just like a dick to us all the fucking time, but then maybe one moment they finally do something nice and you still treat them like a dick, so they're like, well, why would I ever be nice to you? And there's no opportunity for them to be nice, right? It's just about staying in the moment and responding to what's actually happening rather than trying to perceive patterns and projections from past behavior.
It almost feels like what you're saying right now is like you're speaking for the masculine, because because like there's such a projection, I think, for women to just a lot of women to just be like, especially now, like men are shit.
Yeah, and a lot of them, a lot of the time. No one is all of the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean.
And if you want things to grow,
do you do that? Do you really do that, Alex? What do you do?
Do I really own this?
Do you do that? What do you do that with?
I try to do it with everything, but I'm definitely not the best at it. You know, nobody's perfect.
Do you do that with things? What kind of things do you do it with? You don't talk a lot about your internal processes.
I try to do with everything, but often
What was the last time you did it?
Even during this podcast, it's going on. It's going on constantly. My consciousness is constantly sticking to things and being like, oh, why was I getting weird about that? Why was I getting, fearful? And then, but I need to like forgive myself for getting stiff about things,
But what we were talking about is projection of another person.
Mm-hmm.
So how are you doing that with somebody else? There's difficult people that you and I deal with all the time.
Sure. Yeah, like your sister, who she's been really, really cool lately, but then just the other night she was starting to get dark about something, and I was annoyed that she was just talking about negative shit. And so then there's a tendency to be like, well, that's your sister for you. That's Jackie for you. Right. She's just someone who's just negative. You know what I mean? I spend thought energy thinking about how negative a person she is. You know what I mean?
Right.
When really she's been fucking great most of the time lately.
Yeah. Right.
And that's a good recent example with a person.
Right.
And so within the moment,
I guess I'm yeah.
We responded, right? We were like, "Oh, well, we don't want to be around this anymore. Goodbye."
Right.
And that's what I'm talking about. Is like, people are great until they're not, and when they're not, you're allowed to respond. You don't owe anyone anything. All you owe is just your best behavior. And when someone's being shitty, then you respond to that person being shitty. But when they're being good, you respond.
I think it's easier to do the revisionist thing with your own self.
Sure.
Because it's like in your own memories and your own Because I mean, I think it's almost like a more advanced level to start trying to do it with other people. Because if somebody has a pattern of constantly acting a certain way, and you're not,
it's interesting. I find it more difficult to do with myself. That's interesting. I find it more difficult to forgive myself than other people a lot of the time. That's not always true, but.
I don't know if we're talking about the same things. I'm talking about like doing a kind of meditation regression to.
I'm talking about the same thing.
Oh, okay. To kind of like access my inner child or whatever, whatever the origin story of whatever it is that I'm going through,
right.
and shift it.
Well, the same thing's
that's
happening
not really
there.
Forgiveness to me. That's not forgiveness. That's just change.
Well, when you're doing that, what's happened with those experiences is you've had an experience, and you've either been like. That experience either created the world is this way, a thought like, oh, the world is this way because I had this traumatic experience, or other people are this way because I had this traumatic experience with them, or I am this way because I responded in a way to this situation that either was or wasn't good. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm a lazy person because I was in this situation didn't do what I thought I should have done. So then you then feel like I'm a lazy person, I'm a procrastinator, you know, and you affix certain character traits on yourself based on a past experience that you had. So you go back and revise and be like, actually, you can do it in a believable way. Like the reason I was acting that way was because not because I'm a lazy person, but because this paradigm I was a part of, some deep part of me knew it was bullshit and didn't feel the value to it, and so I didn't put my energy towards it because I didn't see and feel the value at that point, you know, or however else you want to revise that experience. You know what I mean? I don't think it would really work on a subconscious level to go back and be like, actually, that didn't happen. Actually, I did do all my homework and had great grades. I don't know. I'm talking about school right now, but obviously that's a thing for me. Because I don't know if that's actually, you would actually believe that. You know, the revision needs to be something you can actually believe, I think, for it to actually work. For it to actually change the way you feel about yourself, because all this is about changing feeling.
I don't know if I believe it. I don't know if I agree with that. I think I think that you can interdimensionally travel and change your reality as you please.
You can.
And so
what does that mean to you?
Well, it just means that, like, I think that, like, for what I've been working on lately has been, like, obviously, like, I have issues with my digestion and like and I feel like sometimes I hold weight on that like shouldn't be there. Like Alex can literally eat. I've never seen someone in my entire life eat the way Alex eats, and it just goes right through him. And he's always like, it's literally energy. It's literally energy. And you know, I have this narrative. I'm half Italian. My dad was chubby. Like, all Italians are chubby. I've had this narrative. I was a chubby kid my whole life that I have this issue with, you know, I have to work really, really, really hard. I have to slave away. I have to eat broccoli and bone broth for dinner if I want to lose weight. And so I was just starting to imagine, and it was feeling really right, feeling really good, where I was like starting to imagine myself just at those points in time where, like, when I was a kid, I would be left home alone and I would be eating like freaking my phone's going off, where I would be like eating like Mama Celeste pizzas or some shit, and just kind of shifting that to eating something healthier, and then kind of shifting that narrative, shifting that body type, shifting that point in time where I was kind of like going through some emotional stuff and eating badly that created this crevice in this that has connected to this space and time now, and just shifting that. And so I was imagining myself, and I could feel the power of it. I could feel the power in doing that and how it relates to this moment in time right now. So I was kind of getting to the origin of it. And so I don't know, for me, it doesn't have to be necessarily believable, because that's totally something that would didn't happen. I'm doing something that totally didn't happen.
What do you mean? So what did you actually do then? What was the revision that you did? You were imagining yourself eating these pizzas and stuff and all this.
Well, that was what really happened.
Okay.
Mama Celeste pizzas and Captain Crunch and Slurpees.
That's what really happened because that's what you're remembering.
That's what I remember at this point in time. Right. And
so who knows how real memories are.
Exactly. Exactly.
Watch enough sci-fi movies, whatever.
Yeah, and so going back and just, imagining myself, I don't know, eating a sandwich or, exercising or just doing things and altering the body type that I had created. That
changes your emotional resonance.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, maybe I'll experiment with that more. That's interesting.
Well, you have issues with your back, right? You could do that with your back. Right? Like at the moment, whenever you started playing video games, right? Because we have these like issues with our bodies that are really based in, because we're both really psychic and sensitive people. And so we like have these issues now, that relate to kind of, I think, when I started coming into consciousness on this planet. And I was like, fuck this. What do I have to do to escape this reality? This is really harsh, and I do not like it here. Give me some Captain Crunch. Give me a Slurpee. Give me some Golden Girls. That's what I had. You were like, give me video games.
Yep.
Give me video games. Give me video games. Give me video games.
Yep.
Right.
Maybe books, too.
Yeah.
Books were like my vegetables.
Aww. Aww.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, you're probably right. If I'm just imagining the younger versions of myself standing up straight.
Well, I think if you really go into that, it's almost like a hologram energy that you can kind of feel transcend to the now. Because I think it's like the stamp of. That's the stamp of the former self. That's when that got ingrained. That's when that happened. So if we can access that memory, that time when you can literally start to feel your back kind of like shifting or creating that crevice, and just imagine yourself sitting straight up. You can even imagine yourself still playing the video games, but sitting straight up and shifting. It just, I think there's an emotional resonance. There's an energetic resonance. There's like a holographic stamp that happens.
You're right. I can feel that.
Right?
Makes me want to cry a little bit.
Aww.
My back.
It's the weight of the world, dude. It's the weight of the world.
For real, though.
Yeah.
That was a cool tangent we went down.
Yeah.
Not even really a tangent, I guess. This whole thing is going to be about cool tangents.
We're just talking about the new era. We're talking about we're talking about techniques. We're talking about how to work with the new frequencies, how to work with the new energies, because really there is much more psychic energy that's available to us now. There's much more decentralized energy. That's like the theme of this new era. We entered the age of Aquarius on December 21st, and it's decentralized. We're decentralized, meaning everything is available to us. Abundance, energy, psychic awareness, attunement. All these things that we thought that other people had, that we had to work for, that we had to like live under, this hierarchy, this exhaustion, this depletion, all of that's been flipped on its head. That world is no longer. And this is the new world is really about access to all of these things, access to all of space and time. We're moving into a non-linear reality. We're moving into a quantum reality. Everything that I just said is in tune and in line with quantum physics, with quantum reality, right? Because we always talk about how the past, time is truly not linear, right? Our existence on this planet is not linear.
No.
In this space and time on planet Earth, it seems like it because of our materiality, but the truth is that time is not linear. So that means that you, as a spirit being inside of a material energy, can travel. You can travel.
Right.
You can connect with your cosmic self. You can move in and out.
Right.
Right? You're not stuck here. Right? You're always telling me about that. You're always telling me about playing with the materiality and how things are not really real.
Right. And it's fun to test the boundaries of that. And I really think the boundaries of that are just what you believe they are. And because I've heard stories that I really believe of people really, just doing crazy, miraculous level shit, floating or healing wounds instantly. Or
well, you're always talking about really crazy shit.
Really crazy shit. Yeah. But I do think it's possible. I do think it's possible. I just think it's really fucking hard to actually believe those things.
Right. And your whole basis of your life has been what you believe. Right. Because of your experience when you were a kid and you had all these issues with your health, right?
Right.
And tell everybody what you told me the other night.
Oh, I had like a lot of intense autoimmune disorder type stuff, and I was on a lot of medications for a while and lost part of my finger and
really intense autoimmune shit.
Yeah, really intense stuff.
You couldn't digest any food. You couldn't barely eat anything.
Yeah, I went to so many different doctors. I went from like just typical rheumatoid arthritis type doctors to like naturopathic doctors, experimenting with all kinds of stuff. And what ultimately solved it was me just being like, fuck it. I'm not taking any more medications. I'm not doing anything to deal with this. It's all psychosomatic. And so it was. Because it got so frustrating and so fucking confusing and so contradictory that it just didn't make sense anymore. You know what I mean? Like things that were working stopped working. Things that weren't working started working. Things that I was told shouldn't work did work. Things that I was told should work didn't. It was
you were
so
operating in the linear paradigm.
Yes.
With it.
And it became so fucking frustrating and so confusing that I just was like, fuck it. I think this is psychosomatic, and I was right. Because
it wasn't that simple though. The process. What was the process?
Well, of course, the process was much longer than that, but
the main piece that you told me was the fasting. That's kind of what was the shifting point, right?
I suppose so. It's difficult to nail down
that's what you told me the other night.
Specific shifting point. What did I tell you the other night? Tell me what I told you the other night. What did I say?
You said that you started doing all these restrictive diets. And that started making you feel better. And
well, I had abandoned the medication and stuff, and it was like, maybe I can control this through diet.
Right.
Yeah. So I suppose that was the final point, because like first it was the medication and the pills, and then it was abandoning that for naturopathic sort of tinctures, right? And that combined with diet, and then I just abandoned that entirely in favor of just diet, and then I abandoned the diet in favor of fasting and breath work, and then I abandoned that entirely.
That was the key though, that what you said is when you started fasting and you started noticing how you'd get really hungry.
Yeah, that's what you're talking about. Yeah. So like, yeah, if fasting, like you start feeling really hungry, you start feeling nauseous and getting these like physical symptoms of having not eaten, right? And so then I was like, well, maybe I don't have to feel this way. And I just breathed into it and drank some water, and it would go away, and I'd feel fine.
Which I think that I've experienced that myself. So that's I believe that. Right, because it's true. Because like I lived in Morocco and stuff, and fasted during Ramadan and shit, and you can. Anybody who has fasted, you can, if you really focus and breathe, kind of like dissipate. And it's the kind of same thing with pain.
So now it's so annoying to me when someone like blames their shitty behavior on being fucking hungry. I'm like, no, you're just a little bitch.
Well, most people don't believe they have that power.
People don't believe they have the power. And when people
think it's possible.
When people don't believe they have the power, they kind of suck. Or when I don't believe I have the power, I kind of suck. Which you can witness all the time, still dealing with it, still going through it, still forgetting.
Lord,
you too.
Help me.
You too, shut up. It's both of us. No one's perfect. But that's really kind of what it is.
So then basically...
This is why belief creates your reality.
So then basically after that, you started working with your hunger and dissipating that, then you kind of realized that you could pretty much have and do whatever you want by doing the same technique.
Yep.
So then you went from having a super restrictive diet where you said you were vegan for a year, then you were paleo for a year, right? You didn't have any sugar or anything, super strict. You said you would spend all day cooking, right? You went from
from scratch, no spices, no additives.
Right, like insane. You did that for years, right? And then you had this kind of realization. And now, how do you eat, Alex? What's your diet like? What did you eat today?
Whatever.
Or what did you eat yesterday?
I've eaten 5 pieces of toast today.
With cream cheese and pate. And I have literally in my life never, ever, ever in my life seen somebody...
definitely opened the door for some emotional eating, but hey.
I've never seen somebody in my life eat this way. He went and got a gallon bucket of...
Spumoni ice cream. Spumoni ice cream. It was in the gallon.
Ate so much ice cream.
Quart, probably.
Ate so much ice cream, and then it was like a sandwich. I just, it blows my mind. It blows my fucking mind. This is somebody that used to...
You know, it's interesting when I was around my parents, it affected me more because I was in their belief network. You know?
Interesting.
This is something I notice.
Yeah, and it's crazy because you went from somebody that had massive health issues based on anything that you eat. And so this is like, cause Alex, cause I'm pretty, not restrictive, but I have been. I'm a Virgo and I've studied a lot of health. And so I keep my diet pretty clean when Alex isn't around. I keep, I eat lots of protein, I don't really eat wheat, don't eat any dairy usually. Not a ton of sugar. And then Alex comes in and he's literally eating whatever he wants. He doesn't gain an ounce. He eats whatever he wants.
Still, I make healthy food for you, and you can eat whatever you want. But you just see me
it's been
things.
like it affects me so intensely. My digestion has just been fucked since he came, and so I'm working with that. I'm constantly working with it because I'm like, okay, because I believe him.
My digestion used to be terrible too. By the way, it used to be really bad.
Well, my digestion's fine when I just have certain things, but that's your whole thing. That's his whole thing. He's like, he gets such enjoyment out of food, and he was so restrictive for so long.
It makes no sense. I can have a day where I eat horribly. The fucking coffee in the morning, pastries, just quote unquote crap all day, and I'll have like the greatest digestion ever that day, and I'll be like, that's interesting. And then I'll have days where like I objectively ate everything you're supposed to, lots of fiber, and it just be horrible.
Right. So your whole ethos,
and vice versa. It's not like it's because you could say like, oh, that's because your body's used to eating a certain way, and when you change your diet, the digestion changes. But it hasn't worked linearly that way at all either. It's worked the other way too. Sometimes.
So your ethos is that all digestion is energetic, and it's all how we feel while we're eating. What else?
How we feel in the moment. Because sometimes I can even it won't even be how I felt eating the meal, but I can feel later my digestion is like, oh, this is gonna go bad, and then I can spend some time going into that and fix that, and then have like a great poop after that. But if I give into it in the moment, it's like I gotta run to the bathroom. You can just have explosive diarrhea. Sometimes.
Right. It's it's literally handling the energy from the inside out. It's literally handling it.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, this has basically just opened the entryway, since this is something that is so material that is entering your body, and it's basically like, if you have this energetic power over what you eat and how you digest, then anything and everything.
Yeah, what else do I have that power with?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's kind of what you've been working with that, and applying it in different areas, and things are working. We're doing pretty damn good. Doing pretty damn good with this new ethos, with this new center of because I used to really fight. Pre-2021, I used to really fight you on this. I'd get so angry when he would be like, it's just all energy. And
to be fair, I was also kind of a dick about it.
You were definitely a dick about it. But
I mean, it's because you were my spiritual teacher, and then I pedestalized you, and so I was like, how can she not get this?
Fuck off. Fuck off. We all have our shit we're working through.
We do.
Mine is like fat kid wounding. Okay.
We do.
But yeah, it's
my back is still hard.
Yeah, your back. I have perfect posture. Perfect. And you can digest anything. So
You're
there.
Right.
But yeah, it's just such a slap in the fucking face for me because I love to eat and I'm Italian. He's eating the fucking Italian ice cream right in front of my fucking face.
The Italian sandwiches.
And the Italian sandwiches.
The lasagna.
Oh God. And it's just like, and he's like, he's like, it's energetic. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? It's energetic, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Okay. Great.
And then you would believe me and be like, okay, I'll do it. And then you'll feel like you're being punished because it wouldn't work.
Yeah, because it hurt my stomach hurt so bad. I get crazy candida. So I'm on this path with you all. This is just the intro, but I'll update you all because I'm actively shifting this dynamic within myself. This is one of the things I'm shifting currently.
It obviously sounds insane.
But I don't feel that it is at all. Because it's honestly just moving into quantum healing, which is accessing your belief systems and your own hold on the energy and the energetics of your body. And working with that. What is Reiki? What is energy work? What is any of that shit? But using your mind.
Is Reiki?
Yeah. What the fuck is Reiki? Yeah. I'm trained in it actually.
Hey. Let us know.
You just put your hands on somebody and you imagine a shape.
Yeah.
And that shape goes into their body. And that's.
The fuck is that?
Exactly.
Do that with anything.
And Reiki is very well proven to work, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's all the same shit. It's because obviously the Western model is not working.
Yeah, acupuncture is a great one.
Acupuncture, I love acupuncture.
Yeah, and there's lots of science that'll be like that. Actually, that's not real. That's some that's some bullshit. That's pseudoscience. And it's like, okay, well, newsflash, everything is pseudoscience.
I don't know who's
newsflash.
Some idiot fucking egotistical bullshitter because allopathic medicine is literally like 200 years old.
Anti-science really quick here, which I am kind of. Yes.
It's so hard.
It's hard.
It's so hard.
It's hard to explain that to people.
I'm anti-death of the spirit. I'm anti-death of energy.
Yeah, to get into this, we'd have to talk about what science actually is, which may be a whole nother
Maybe
podcast.
We'll talk about that another time. Yeah, we can talk about that next time.
It's proving something to yourself to be real, right? It's repeatable results through really intense double-blind experiments and stuff, and through that you create a really intense nexus of belief, right, that seems unshakable.
Right.
But the key to understanding this is everything works that way, and there's a lot of contradictory science out there, and science is constantly shifting and moving. So what does that tell you?
Right. Right. Exactly. Not only that, but, because I've had my share of health issues, and nothing ever worked. No allopathic science actually made me more sick than anything else.
Interesting. What is allopathic medicine?
Allopathic. It's linear. It's the linear Western model.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
That literally still uses Newtonian fucking science. Newtonian science. We're beyond that, people. It doesn't acknowledge any kind of energy. It doesn't acknowledge anything energetic.
Some autistic shit.
It's bullshit, dude. Yeah, and that shit makes me so angry because I've worked in the health field for so long, and I've seen how much it injures people. I've seen what it does to people. I've seen the shit people are on. I've seen the meds people are on because they don't acknowledge their fucking spirit, and they don't believe they have the power. So this new era is all about accessing the power, and you have it, and you actually are God in human form. We are all God. We are all aspects of the divine flow, of the divine order, of cosmic consciousness, and we can wake up to our own ability to shape our matter and to shape our world as we please.
And really fucking take that shit in. It may sound cheesy. It's not. It's not. Like, really take that in.
I feel like not taking it in is a way to just not have to do it, too.
Yeah. It's a way to not own your power and stay in victim consciousness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And to just believe other fucking sources that want to keep you. Because really, when you don't believe that, the other sources have power over you. You're always going to be in a position where other people have power over you.
And as you continue to work with this, you will hit boundaries. You will hit things that seems like, oh, maybe it doesn't work here. But I don't think that's ever true. I think this is just like what's called sometimes like threshold guardians, like things that you really deep subconscious parts of yourself believe. And it's really fucking tricky to get over that shit. It's really hard to get over deeply internalized beliefs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Maybe it's not.
Maybe it's not. Hey, creating with our words. Such as the catch-22 of everything we say.
You're just fucking grinding that in. That's a belief that you're grinding in right now.
Exactly.
It's so hard to change all of these things.
Par exemplar.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's so hard. When you actually, I don't actually know if you really believe that.
I don't believe that.
Yeah.
I don't believe that.
Yeah.
It's not that it's hard, it's that it's tricky sometimes.
Yeah.
It's that sometimes it's confusing because it's so paradoxical.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, all I wanted to say was like, if it seems like it's not working, just stick with it and recognize that that's part of the process.
Right.
You know?
Right. Right.
Like, look at what you're doing in that moment. Like, oh, it's not working. Well, you're literally creating that in that moment. I think that's what's tricky about this is it's occurring in the moment by moment, as we are speaking even right now.
Yeah. And yeah, I read something today that really liberated me because I'm always going really deep with my beliefs and my faith and what I believe to be true. And the sticking points that keep me from expanding into that faith. And I was reading a book I have this morning called In the Flow of Life, and it was like by this guy named Eric Butterworth, who I love. And there was a line where he was like, a lot of people would say that you're being irresponsible if you have this belief. Like it's almost like. And that's what I realized. That's what it was. Like, there's something inside of me that has this. It's like the internalized fucking patriarchal, capitalistic, fucking linear bullshit. That's like, if you have faith in this, you are irresponsible.
That's a big block,
right?
Maybe the biggest block.
I hit that today. I finally like accessed that, and I was like, oh. And then I was like, oh, it's it was so funny because I needed some white dude to tell me that it's not irresponsible, and I felt better. You know, but Eric Butterworth is the shit. I love him. Yeah. He's an white dude. He's my man. But so I trust him and I love him and I communicate with him. And yeah, he knew I needed to hear that today. And so it's like all day I've been like, oh my God, this is what actually living your life is like enjoying, not constantly living in not living in this constricted state that you're doing something wrong, that you're not doing it right, like just allowing yourself to feel good in the moment and not feeling guilty about it. Like that in and of itself, like just allowing ourselves to feel good and not feel guilty about that. Like it sounds so simple, but it's so deeply internalized. Like we've been so conditioned to feel guilty about feeling good in this culture. Right. Like you have to have a reason to feel so good.
Right.
You have to have a reason. You have to have a reason to be happy. Like, right?
Right.
And it's like, that's the new MO. That's the new MO. And that's like the ultimate way of saying fuck you to all these
old systems.
Old systems. Colonial fucking enterprises that are dead. Yeah. Yeah.
Saying no to the machine.
Yeah. Exactly. No to the Matrix. No. On that note, you want to tie things up? Do you have anything else to say, Alex?
No, I think that's good.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
1 minute and 13 seconds. That's pretty good.
1 hour, you mean?
Oh, 1 hour and 13 seconds. Yeah, 1 hour and 13 minutes. What is time, folks? It's all relative.
It's all fucking relative. Yeah. All right. Well, this is cool. This is fun. This is the first of many, and we got it going. Thank God. We're starting it. We're doing it. We're revving the engine. We're carving a new pathway. We're carving a new world. Psi.Wave. This is what we're talking about. It's the energies of the new frequencies, the new psychic interconnected energies of this new era, and it's the new wave of it.
I love it.
Yeah, dog.
All right.
All right, peace out, everybody. Talk to you later.